It's with Dahoud. Oh, fancy footwork. And there it is, 1-0. Their efforts have been rewarded. And look at the celebrations.
Well, here it is again. He goes past his marker so easily with just a drop of the shoulder, but he's still got so much work to do. Just look at the strength he shows.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jockey, and on this episode I'm bringing you the advanced defending techniques that will help you improve your defensive gameplay in FIFA 22. We can all admit that FIFA 22 has been one hell of a game that is very difficult to defend, but then I'll show you one or two techniques that if you abide by these rules, you'll be able to improve your defensive gameplay in FIFA 22. But before we go into this tutorial, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the like button. Thank you very much for doing that. I'll be taking you through some series of techniques, but before then, one tip I would like to add up is that throughout the entirety of this gameplay or in playing FIFA 22, in my opinion, it's more important to defend the space than to defend where the ball is, except of course in the 18-yard box when you need to block the ball. But anywhere else, defend the space and defend where the ball might go and not where the ball currently is. The first thing I would like us to look at is the use of AI, or letting AI assist you in defending. You know you can't control all the players at the same time, or you can't control all the players, so you most likely would make mistake in using all the players or all the defenders, and you possibly might have heard that it is advisable to use your CDMs or your strikers to defend. Now this is a trick in it. You would have to first perfect the use of the right analog stick, because it easily takes you back to the striker, or takes the cursor back to the striker once you tilt it back or towards where the striker is positioned. With your custom tactics and instructions, AI keeps your defensive line in check and then in position, so it makes it very difficult for your opponent to break loose your defense and then score a goal. Now, because AI is supporting you to defend doesn't mean that you should leave it all by AI to defend. It doesn't work that way. You have to be on guard and let AI do the defending for about 2 to 3 seconds, or like 5 seconds, or sometimes even 6 seconds, at most 10 seconds. Then you take control of the players. What AI does is that it keeps the defensive line straight and helps the players to mark all the attackers one after the other. This gives you a bit of chance to be able to control the player to move towards where the ball is and defend the ball easily. I mostly like to do this or use this technique when I am facing an opponent that is very formidable and is very skillful. You know, you have sometimes meet players that are skillful and very formidable at attacking. So normally I leave you to AI for about 2 or 3 seconds, then I take charge of the player. Then I know where the ball is, and I can equally predict where the ball is going for me to predict and put my players in that position to easily take the ball. Technique number 2 is shoulder to shoulder. Once you catch up to an opposing player, it will often lead to a situation where the two players will fight shoulder to shoulder for the ball. Such a duel usually ends up in pushing, but sometimes a foul can be whistled. Players who excel in strength and aggression perform best when using this technique. You do this by pressing the square button, or the button that you've assigned to shoot the ball to score. It is also a button that defensively can be used to do a hard tackle. But if you find yourself in a position where you have to chase your player and you are trying to catch up with this player, you can double tap it or press and hold it whilst you are running and chasing this player. You realize that it causes your player to try to pull down or pull back the player that he is chasing. Chasing players is important while defending in FIFA 22. However, simply sprinting along them isn't enough. Players need to maintain some level of pressure in one way or the other. Tapping on the square button while pressuring an attacker will cause the player to either shoulder barge them or pull on their shirts. And that brings us to the third on the list, and that is Jockey. Jockey is the most important defensive move that greatly restricts the opponent's ability to play the ball. Using the jockey technique correctly can be little tricky, but it's worth practicing and using whenever possible. The jockey technique not only helps you in one-on-one situation, but also in defense and to predict when the opposing team is going to pass the ball, allowing you to capture it. The player can enter a jockey mode by pressing the corresponding button, that is L2, or the button that you've assigned to shield the ball. And after a moment, he will begin to swiftly strafe in the direction of your choice. Jockeying your opponent is an effective way to stop the player in possession from dribbling past your defender. When an attacker is running to you or is running at you, simply hold down the L2 button to perform a jockey. Your player angles himself in the direction of the ball, allowing him to get closer to the attacker. Then you shift the left analog stick or whichever control, even if it is the D-pad that you are using to control the player, tilt it towards the direction in which the attacker is moving to. Now, even though the controls might be the same, jockeying is different from shielding the ball, and that brings us to the next point: shielding the ball. Shielding the ball is a technique that allows the player to hold on to the ball until they can receive support from their teammates. This technique can be used when you don't have the opportunity to make any plays, when you want to waste some time, or to give more space to players running behind the backs of defenders. Offensively, or when you are attacking, the L2 button helps you to protect the ball, but when you are defending, it helps you to jockey. So to shield the ball, you need to press the corresponding button, that is L2, to protect the ball. The next point I would like us to look at is blocking a shot in your penalty area while defending. During matches in FIFA 22, you frequently have to block shots on your own. You can do this by pressing the tackle button or square. Like for example, you use square to score goals. That is the button that you have to press. If you use the circle to score goals, that is equally the button that you have to press. And then you stand in the line of the shot and also make a sliding tackle. Now, let this not confuse you. You can use the sliding tackle while you are in line to where the person wants to strike the shot. But mostly, I like to do the L2 and then hold the box or the square button to block a shot while I'm defending in my 18 area or my penalty box area. The next point I would like us to look at is teammate pressing. This technique is useful when the match is almost over and you are still chasing the scoreboard. If the opponent is holding on to the ball and isn't in a hurry to attack, it's a good idea to press him and try to quickly capture the ball. You can switch on teammate pressing by pressing down on the D-pad followed by one of the side directions. It will also interest you to know that when you engage your players in pressing, you will leave a large area of field without adequate defense, and on top of that, all the players involved in this maneuver will get tired within a short period of time. The next thing I would also like us to look at is teammates contained in FIFA 22, or how to use the second defender, which is being controlled by AI in FIFA 22. This is where you use your teammate to contain the attacker, and it is very useful. By holding the R2 button or the button that you've assigned to contain teammates, if you are attacking, the R2 will be used to finesse the ball, but if you are defending, the R2 will be used to contain teammates or will be serving as teammate contain button. An AI teammate can be sent over to defend while the controlled player can be used for support. When you press the R2, you realize that there's this green button that appears on the player and they then move around to go and tackle or get the ball. So when this happens, you don't move the player you are actually controlling to follow them. You then sit back and use them to close the spaces and hold back while they go in for the ball. Immediately they get the ball, the cursor automatically switch to that player, then you move. But if they miss the ball, you can still use the player you are actually controlling as a supporting defender. Thanks for your time and thank you for watching this video. If this video has been helpful to you, kindly drop me a like and comment where you are watching from. I'll be glad to know that this video has gone a long way to help you to improve in your FIFA 22 defensive gameplay. Please do well to like this video and share with your friends. Consider supporting my channel by subscribing. Turn on post notifications so that you don't miss any of my tutorial videos. Thank you very much.